Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Hunter Gore, and I'm here today to talk with you about how to use a financial calculator as a real estate agent or investor. Let's go check it out. So, as we look over here, we're really looking at our financial calculator here on the right, and I do have Zillow pulled up on the left, so we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But really, I want to talk through a financial calculator. So let's talk through a couple of scenarios of why this is important. So whenever you're looking at figuring out a mortgage payment or a payment number back and forth, whether you are a lender or a borrower, you can use this tool to help you out. With my background as an agent and in creative finance, I really focus on the payments here. So I'm really thinking about this as if I am the borrower and I'm going to be making payments to somebody else as the lender. A lot of times, I'm actually using this to make offers with seller financing. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. I want to show you some examples here with Zillow. But let's take a look at the calculator, okay? Now, this is on my MacBook Pro, so this is on my desktop. The great thing about this app in particular is called the 10BII Financial Calculator. This is available on all iPhones, and it's probably on Android as well. I didn't check the Google Play Store, so you'll have to forgive me. But if you can't find it there, there's going to be another calculator that is very similar. Now, this one is a paid calculator. Just full disclosure, I don't get anything from this. I don't honestly even know who owns this calculator, but I had to pay money to use it, and it's really well worth it. $5. So anyway, so let's dive in here. So when we're taking a look at the calculator, we have all of these buttons on the very top of it, and that's really all we're going to focus on. There's a lot of other stuff in here in the middle section. We're not going to focus on that. Really, I'm looking at the N for number of payments in a year, I, which is just the interest rate in a given year. This is not APR, okay? This is just the interest rate. PV is going to be your present value. PMT is going to be your payment for the year, and FV is going to be your future value. Now, if you're sitting here doing loans, trying to figure out payments, all that, always keep your future value at 0. It'll normally have that by default, but just something to remember. So let's say we're going to run some numbers on a 30-year fully amortized loan. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in 360. Now, we got 360 by doing 30 years times 12, number of months in a year. Plug that in here. And there's also a little note right here, but easy one to miss. So I like to point that out. Let's say that you're going to get a 5% mortgage, and your mortgage is going to be for $250,000. Okay, so we took 5. Don't have to put it as a percent, just put 5 as a whole number into the interest rate. We're going to put 250 full numbers here into the present value, and now all you have to do to figure out the payment is just click on it, and voila, our payment is now $1,342 a month. Crazy, right? A little calculator like this can tell you all you need to know for creative financing for real estate agents and investors. Now let's change it up a little bit. Let's say that you are now getting a 3% loan at the same $250,000 over the same 30-year period. Well, now we're down to $1,054 a month. This is a really great tool. You can play with all different types of numbers in here. Typically, what I like to focus on, especially if I'm a borrower or a buyer, rather, of a property, and I'm looking at the property for seller financing, I'm going to be making an offer based on 2 numbers. Your present value number right here, and your payment number right here. Because for me, and I wanted to pull up an example so we can actually walk through one together. Let's go over here and take a look at Zillow. So Zillow is showing us a 3-bed, 2-bath brick ranch house in Columbia, South Carolina. Very nice finishes. Looks like it's decently updated. About 1,600 square feet. Now, granted, I don't know this market very well in Columbia, but let's just take a gander and say that 1,600 square feet, it can rent for $1 a square foot. So we can rent this house out for $1,600 a month. Okay. Now let's say that you wanted to go get this financed. So we're going to plug in some numbers here. So I'm going to do 190 into the present value, just making it simple, bumping up $100 over a 30-year period. So nice 30-year loan. And let's say that we stick at a 3% interest rate. What's that payment? Now the payment is $800 a month. Okay. So now that we figured that out, now we can back in and figure out what either purchase price or PV, present value, whatever your loan amount is, we can figure out for interest rate, or what we can do is we can solve for the payment, which is what I like to do. Now let me explain that again. Essentially, we're going to be keeping the purchase price at 190, 100% financed, okay? And we're going to be plugging in some numbers. So if we know that this can rent out for about $1,600 a month, maybe you say the max payment you can make, because remember, this number right here, $801, this is principal and interest only, okay? So you still got to pay those property taxes and that insurance, so those numbers are going to be added on there, okay? But let's say that you know your max payment you can make is $1,000 a month. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put $1,000 in here. Now, when you actually input this number into the calculator, don't forget, got to add that negative sign because that payment is technically going out. So, got to make sure the calculator can work right. And now, let's go keep the same 30 years. Let's solve for the interest rate. Okay. So in this example here, by increasing the payment from $801 to $1,000, we're now up to 4.8% interest rate from a 3%. So there's a couple ways to work through this. Let's say you're looking at this house, you want to make your offer, okay? But you don't want to be paying 4.8% interest rate. You want to pay, let's say, 0%. Okay, so we're keeping 190, we're keeping $1,000 a month going out at 0%. Now, all you have to do, you hit the N for the number, and this is going to tell me I'm going to be making payments over 190 months, okay? So let's figure out what that is in years. Just divided by 12, 15.8 years. So if you want a 15-year mortgage, that's one way to do it. All you got to do is put in the payment that you're comfortable with, the purchase price that you're going to pay, and again, this is not factoring in a down payment. You would want to subtract, down payment out of this number, so this number would go down. Put the interest rate at whatever you want. I like to solve for 0. Makes it easy to figure out what I want to negotiate for, because you always want to try to ask for those 0% financing if you can help it. It's going to help you, and in some cases can help those sellers as well. So again, this is just a quick little tutorial on how to utilize a financial calculator for creative financing. Again, so whether you're buying houses, commercial real estate, land, heck, cars, boats, RVs, widgets, iPhones, like whatever you think, they all go back to a financial calculator, because at the end of the day, it's all about your equity and it's all about how you finance.